Imagine this. You're standing in the dim halls of a paleontology museum, the air thick with the scent of ancient dust and mystery. Massive skeletons loom overhead, Tyrannosaurus rex with its jaws like a bear trap, Brachiosaurus stretching its neck high as a church steeple, and Velociraptor, that clever little killer darting through your nightmares. But hold on, folks, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Deep in the Earth's layers, buried under sediments for hundreds of millions of years, there are creatures so bizarre they defy your wildest dreams. These aren't the stars of the show. They are the forgotten side characters in nature's grand epic, whispering secrets about diversity, adaptation, and the enigmas of evolution that still keep scientists up at night. Picture yourself as an explorer, flashlight in hand, descending into a forgotten quarry where the rocks crack open like old books, revealing fossils that twist your mind. What if I told you about dinosaurs with claws longer than your arm, necks that could span a football field, or heads adorned with more horns than a Viking helmet? These 10 obscure beasts aren't just relics, they're portals to unanswered questions. Why did evolution craft such freaks? How did they survive in a world of giants? Buckle up, because we're diving into a tale that's part thriller, part science fiction,
The diversity
but all real.
and adaptation
By the end,
in
you won't look at
evolutionary
dinosaurs
enigmas.
the same way. Let's kick it off with the first weirdo on our list, but first, let me pull you in deeper with stories that'll make your pulse race. As a renowned historian, archaeologist, and best-selling author, I've spent decades unearthing these tales from the dirt. I've held bones in my hands that once pulsed with life, felt the chill of discovery in remote digs from Mongolia to Antarctica. Evolution isn't a straight path. It's a wild, twisting roller coaster where nature experiments boldly. 70% of dinosaur species we know come from fragments, tiny clues to massive puzzles. And these 10, they're the oddballs that challenge everything. They show us that survival wasn't just about being the biggest or fiercest. It was about being weirdly ingenious. Think about it. In a time when asteroids loomed as threats and continents shifted like puzzle pieces, these creatures adapted in ways that boggle the mind. Some grew appendages for show, others for stealthy hunts. I've stood at sites where these fossils were pulled from the ground, imagining the roars echoing across prehistoric plains. The drama, the survival stakes. It's like a blockbuster movie, but scripted by Mother Nature herself. And now we're peeling back the curtain. Our journey starts with the Tyrannosaurus, a giant that stood over 33 feet tall with claws stretching 3 feet long, sharper than samurai swords. But wait, it wasn't a meat eater. That's the twist that hooks you. As we explore each one, I'll weave in the digs, the debates, the what-ifs that make paleontology pulse with excitement. From the spiked backs of Amargasaurus to the endless neck of Mamenchisaurus, each story builds on the last, ramping up the mystery.
As we
You won't want to
dive
stop.
deeper into
These beasts
stories,
demand your attention,
your pulse
pulling you into a
will
world where
race
every
faster.
fossil is a cliffhanger. Evolution's laboratory was ruthless. 99% of species gone, but these survivors left clues. I've debated with colleagues over campfires. Were those spikes for defense or symphonies in the wind? Did that crest glow in the Antarctic twilight? The answers, still buried, waiting. But today, we're resurrecting them in words, making them roar again. So lean in close. This is no dry lecture. It's a heart-pounding adventure through time. Ready? Let's unearth the first secret. Picture a monster towering over 33 feet tall, its shadow stretching across the prehistoric plains of what's now Mongolia. The Tyrannosaurus wasn't just big. It was bizarre, a creature that looked like it wandered out of a sci-fi nightmare. Its arms, each stretching 8 feet long, ended in claws that could make a grown man freeze. 3-foot-long scythes, sharp as samurai blades, glinting in the Cretaceous sun. You'd think this thing was a killing machine, right? Wrong. This giant was a vegetarian, using those terrifying claws to rake leaves from towering trees or fend off predators dumb enough to get close. It's like nature decided to arm a pacifist with a nuclear arsenal. I've stood at dig sites in the Gobi Desert, where the wind howls like a ghost from 70 million years ago. Holding a Therizinosaurus claw fossil feels like gripping a weapon from another world.
Fossil claws.
Smooth,
This
curved,
doesn't match
heavier than you'd
anything we have
expect.
ever discovered.
Paleontologists first found these claws in the 1950s, and for decades they were baffled. A predator? A scavenger? It wasn't until the 1990s, when more bones surfaced, that we realized this beast was a plant eater with a bird-like beak and a potbelly for digesting tough foliage. Imagine a 10-ton turkey with Wolverine's claws, waddling through fern forests, casually swiping branches like a gardener gone rogue. But here's the kicker: those claws weren't just for show. The Therizinosaurus lived alongside Tarbosaurus, a cousin of T. Rex with jaws that could crush a car. One wrong move and our leaf-munching giant was lunch. Those claws could slash through hide, maybe even bone, giving the Therizinosaurus a fighting chance. I've seen claw marks on fossilized predator bones, proof of battles where this gentle giant fought back.
Display?
Picture it. A Tarbosaurus lunges, jaws wide, only to catch a 3-foot claw across the face, sending it reeling. The scene's straight out of a blockbuster, dust swirling, roars echoing. Yet the mystery lingers. Why evolve such oversized weapons for a herbivore? Some scientists think the claws doubled as mating displays. Imagine males waving those scythes like peacocks flashing feathers. Others argue they dug for roots or stripped bark. I've debated this over dusty field notes, picturing the Therizinosaurus silhouetted against a sunset, its claws catching the light like crescent moons. Evolution's a gambler, and this beast was a wild card. It challenges everything we think we know about dinosaurs, blending terror and tranquility in one package. As we move to the next oddball, Amargasaurus, get ready for another twist. If the Therizinosaurus was nature's paradox, what's a dinosaur with a double row of spines that might have sung in the wind? Hold that thought. This journey's just getting weirder. Step into the lush, humid jungles of South America, 130 million years ago, where the ground shakes under the weight of a creature that looks like it belongs in a fantasy epic. Amargasaurus, a 30-foot-long sauropod, strides through the ferns, its neck adorned with 2 rows of foot-long spines sticking up like the masts of a ship. These aren't just for show. They're a puzzle that's had paleontologists scratching their heads since its bones were unearthed in Argentina's La Amarga Formation in 1984. Were they for defense, a prehistoric sound system, or a dazzling display to woo a mate? This dinosaur's a walking enigma, and I'm here to pull you into its story. I've walked the red dirt badlands of Patagonia, where Amargasaurus fossils tell tales of a world alive with danger and beauty. Picture this beast, 10 tons of muscle, a long neck stretching 20 feet, and those twin rows of spines. Some say they were covered in skin like sails. Others argue they were bare, bony spikes. Imagine the sunlight filtering through, casting striped shadows on the forest floor as this giant moves. I've held a spine fossil, rough and heavy, wondering what it saw. Maybe it faced off against predators like Mapusaurus, a 30-foot carnivore with teeth like steak knives. Those spines could have been a shield warding off bites, or maybe they rattled in the wind, a warning signal like nature's own alarm. But here's where it gets wild. Some scientists think those spines were strung with keratin, like guitar strings, vibrating to create eerie hums that echoed for miles. Picture Amargasaurus in a misty valley, its spines humming a low, haunting tune to call its herd or scare off rivals. I've stood in dig sites, imagining that sound, part music, part menace, carrying across a landscape where pterosaurs soared overhead. Others argue the spines were for show, glowing with color to attract mates like a peacock's tail on steroids. Either way, this wasn't just a plant-munching giant. It was a spectacle, a living monument to evolution's creativity. The mystery deepens with every fossil. Why 2 rows? Why so long? I've debated this with colleagues under starlit Patagonian skies, our boots caked in clay. Some say the spines stored heat, helping Amargasaurus survive chilly nights. Others think they were radiators, cooling its massive body. No one knows for sure, but each theory paints a picture of a creature that thrived by being utterly unique.
Thief.
It wasn't the biggest sauropod, Brachiosaurus dwarfed it, but Amargasaurus didn't need size. It had style, a swagger that said, "I'm untouchable." As we leave this spiked sentinel behind, get ready for Oviraptor, a dinosaur whose name slandered it for decades. Wrongly accused, fiercely protective, its story's a twist that'll flip your view of the prehistoric world. Let's rewind to the scorching deserts of Mongolia, 75 million years ago, where a creature the size of a large dog darts through the dunes. Oviraptor, its name meaning egg thief, got a bad rap from the start. When its fossil was found in 1924 next to a clutch of eggs, scientists assumed it was caught red-handed, snatching a meal.
Look,
but hold up, that's not the
claws are
story.
right over the eggs.
Decades later, new finds flipped the script. Those eggs,
Accused.
they were its own.
Falsely.
Oviraptor wasn't a crook. It was a devoted
egg
parent,
thief.
curled protectively over its nest like a mother hen. This 6-foot-long, feathered dinosaur is proof that even science can jump to conclusions. I've knelt in the Gobi Desert, sifting through sand where Oviraptor bones were uncovered. The scene feels alive. Imagine a sleek, bird-like creature weighing about 70 pounds with a beak sharp enough to crack nuts or snatch small prey. Its feathers shimmered, maybe gold, maybe crimson, catching the sun as it guarded its eggs. Those eggs, fossilized in perfect ovals, tell a story of care. One skeleton was found with its arms wrapped around the clutch, frozen in a pose that screams devotion. I've touched those fossils, feeling the weight of a parent's sacrifice preserved for millions of years. But Oviraptor wasn't just a stay-at-home mom or dad. This thing was quick, with strong legs built for sprinting across the desert at maybe 20 miles an hour. It could have hunted lizards or scavenged carcasses, using its beak like a Swiss Army knife. Picture it dodging a velociraptor, its cousin and a true killer, in a high-stakes chase through scrublands. I've seen claw marks on nearby fossils, hinting at scraps where Oviraptor's speed and smarts saved the day. Its brain was big for a dinosaur, suggesting it was cunning, maybe even outwitting predators to protect its young. The real mystery, how did it live? Some think Oviraptor used its beak to crush shellfish, others say it munched plants or small animals. I've debated this over campfires, picturing it snapping up a meal under a starry Cretaceous sky. Its feathers might have flared to intimidate rivals or charm mates like a bird of paradise. The eggs, though, steal the show. They prove dinosaurs weren't all cold-blooded monsters.
Nest.
Some were nurturing, complex, closer to birds than we ever imagined.
Complex behavior, though.
Oviraptor's tale is a lesson in redemption, a reminder that names can lie. As we shift gears to Carnotaurus, brace for a dinosaur that looks like a devil but ran like the wind. Its story's got horns, speed, and a twist that'll make your jaw drop. Picture the windswept plains of Patagonia 90 million years ago, where a predator sprints across the earth like a bolt of lightning. Carnotaurus, meaning meat-eating bull, was a 7-ton beast, 25 feet long with a face that could haunt your dreams. 2 stubby horns jutted from its skull, giving it a demonic glare, while its legs, built like a cheetah's, made it one of the fastest dinosaurs, possibly hitting 30 miles an hour. But here's the kicker, its arms. Tiny, shriveled stubs, barely 2 feet long, useless as a T. Rex's, but even more comical. This was a creature of raw power and bizarre contradictions, a devil that ran like the wind. I've stood in the Argentine Badlands, where Carnotaurus fossils were dug up in 1985, their bones stained red by ancient soil. Holding its skull replica, you feel the weight of those horns, small but menacing, like daggers above its eyes. Imagine this beast charging, head lowered, horns aimed at a rival or prey. Its jaws, packed with serrated teeth, could shred flesh like paper. I've seen bite marks on sauropod bones, evidence of Carnotaurus ambushing giants 10 times its size. Picture it. A herd of slow-moving plant-eaters grazing, unaware of a shadow exploding from the brush, horns glinting as it slams into its target. But speed was its real weapon. Those legs, lean and muscular, suggest it could outrun most prey. Scientists estimate it sprinted across open plains, chasing down smaller dinosaurs like Orcosaurus or even young sauropods. I've walked those fossil beds, imagining the dust clouds, the panicked bleats of prey, the thunder of Carnotaurus's feet. Its skin, preserved in rare imprints, was pebbled like a basketball, maybe striped for camouflage. But those tiny arms, a mystery. Some think they were vestigial, leftovers from evolution's cutting room floor. Others argue they helped balance during high-speed turns like a racer's outstretched hands. The horns sparked the most debate. Were they for fighting like a bull goring a foe, or for show, flashing bright colors to intimidate or attract? I've tossed this around with colleagues over coffee in Buenos Aires, picturing two Carnotaurus males locking horns under a crimson sunset. The truth, likely both combat and swagger. This wasn't just a predator. It was a spectacle, a creature that owned the plains with style and terror. As we leave this horned devil, get ready for Concavenator, a hunter with a hump that defies explanation. Its story's got twists that'll make you rethink what a dinosaur could be. Fast forward to Spain, 125 million years ago, where a predator prowls the riverbanks under a blazing sun. Concavenator, a 20-foot-long carnivore weighing about 2 tons, cuts a strange figure with a hump on its back, rising like a shark's fin from its spine. Unearthed in 2010, this fossil stunned scientists. A dinosaur with a built-in billboard. That hump formed by elongated vertebrae is a head-scratcher. Was it a fat store for lean times, a radiator to cool its blood, or a flashy display to scream, "I'm the king of this turf"? This is no ordinary hunter. It's a riddle wrapped in scales. I visited the dusty quarries of Las Hoyas, where Concavenator's bones were pulled from the earth. Holding a replica of its spine, you can feel the oddity of that hump. Bony, pronounced, unlike anything else in the dinosaur world. Picture it stalking through wetlands, its scaly hide catching the light, maybe striped in reds or greens for camouflage. Its arms, unlike Carnotaurus's stubs, were long and clawed, perfect for grabbing prey like small dinosaurs or fish. I've seen tooth marks on nearby fossils, hinting at Concavenator's diet. Think snapping up a struggling croc-like creature in a splash of river water, claws pinning it down. But that hump steals the show. Some paleontologists think it stored fat, like a camel's hump, fueling Concavenator through dry seasons. Others argue it regulated heat, dumping excess warmth in Spain's ancient tropics. I've stood in those fossil beds, imagining this beast silhouetted against a crimson dawn, its hump glowing like a beacon.
I'm telling you,
Another theory, it was for show, maybe covered in bright skin, flaring during mating season to dazzle rivals or mates. Picture two Concavenators facing off, humps raised, roaring like living billboards in a prehistoric showdown. What's wilder is the evidence of feathers. Tiny bumps on its arm bones suggest quill-like structures, maybe not full plumage, but enough to hint at a bird-like flair. I've debated this with colleagues in Madrid bars, picturing Concavenator strutting, its hump and proto-feathers catching the breeze. Was it a stealthy hunter or a flamboyant show-off? Likely both. Evolution loves a multitasker.
This is truly
this
impossible.
creature didn't just
An
survive.
evolutionary marvel
It thrived
that
by being
defies current
bold, weird,
understanding.
unforgettable. Transport yourself to the misty forests of China, 160 million years ago, where a colossus grazes the treetops like a living crane. Mamenchisaurus, a sauropod behemoth up to 80 feet long and weighing 30 tons, boasted a neck stretching nearly 50 feet, longer than a school bus, half its body length. This wasn't just tall, it was a marvel that pushed the limits of biology. How did blood pump to its brain up there?
This is
How did it
truly
not snap
impossible.
under its own
An
weight?
evolutionary marvel
Unearthed
that
in the
defies current
1950s
understanding.
in Sichuan province, this dinosaur's fossils have sparked endless debates. a testament to evolution's audacious engineering. I've trekked through the rugged hills of Mamenchisaurus country, where red rock layers hide these giant secrets. Holding a vertebra fossil, you sense the scale, each one the size of a suitcase, lightweight yet strong, honeycombed with air sacs like a bird's bones. Picture this beast rearing up, its neck uncoiling like a serpent nipping leaves from heights no other creature could reach. Its heart, a powerhouse, maybe 2 pounds of muscle pumping blood against gravity with valves preventing backflow. I've seen diagrams in labs, imagining the thump echoing through its chest as it fed, a rhythmic drum in the Jurassic Symphony. But survival wasn't easy. That neck was a vulnerability. Predators like Yonchuanosaurus, a 20-foot carnivore with jaws like shears, could target it. Mamenchisaurus might have used its tail as a whip, cracking at supersonic speeds to fend off attacks.
Alignment.
I've walked
But what
dig
about the
sites
cervical
picturing
ribs?
a chase, the ground trembling, neck swaying like a pendulum, evading snaps from below. Its diet, high-fiber ferns and conifers, digested in a massive gut. Scientists puzzle over its posture. Did it hold the neck high like a giraffe or horizontal like a vacuum cleaner? Evidence points to both, flexible for browsing low and high. The real enigma, blood flow. At 50 feet up, pressure drops could cause blackouts. Theories include a secondary heart in the neck or super-efficient vessels. I've argued this with peers
I
in
agree. The
Beijing
consequences could be
conferences,
severe.
envisioning
The sheer volume
Mamenchisaurus
needed to sustain
silhouetted against
pressure at
misty
that height is
mountains,
immense.
neck
But
piercing
what
the
about the
canopy.
heart's capacity and
It
the
wasn't the
elasticity of the
longest
vessels?
neck. Some relatives edged it out. But Mamenchisaurus mastered the art, a skyscraper of flesh in a world of titans. As we bid farewell to this sky-touching giant, prepare for Stygimalloch, a headbanger with a crown fit for a demon. Its stories packed with clashes that'll rattle your bones. Dive into the rocky badlands of North America, 70 million years ago, where a dinosaur charges headfirst into battle like a living battering ram. Stygimalloch, named after the mythical river of the underworld, was a 10-foot-long, 500-pound pachycephalosaur with a skull like a spiked helmet. Its dome, thick as a football helmet and ringed with horns up to a foot long, looked like a demon's crown. Discovered in the 1980s in Montana, this beast's fossils suggest epic head-butting clashes, but a twist. Some think it's just a teenage Pachycephalosaurus, its wild look a phase before adulthood. This is evolution's punk rocker, all attitude and armor. I've hiked the Hell Creek Formation, where Stygimalloch bones emerge from eroding cliffs. Gripping a skull cast, you feel the density, bone up to 4 inches thick, built to absorb shocks like a crash test dummy. Imagine two males rearing up, domes clashing with a crack that echoes for
But
miles,
what about the dome's
sparks flying from
structure for
horns.
ramming?
Its legs, sturdy and springy, propelled it at maybe 15 miles an hour into these duels, fighting for mates or territory. I've seen fracture patterns on fossils, proof of impacts that could have cracked concrete, yet these dinosaurs survived, healing like warriors. But here's the debate that keeps paleontologists buzzing. Those horns and spikes, combat weapons or show. Some say the dome was for ramming like bighorn sheep, with blood vessels cushioning blows. Others argue it was display only, the spikes too fragile for fights, more for intimidating rivals under a setting sun. I've sat around dig campfires arguing if Stygimalloch's crown flushed red during courtship, a prehistoric mohawk. And the juvenile theory? Skulls show growth stages, young ones spiky, adults smoother. If true, Stygimalloch isn't a species but a moody teen phase, rewriting books on dinosaur development. Life was brutal. Stygimalloch dodged T-Rex using speed and smarts. Its brain cavity suggests quick thinking. Picture it weaving through ferns, head low, horns glinting as it evades a massive jaw snap. Its diet? Plants munched with peg-like teeth, fueling those energy-sapping battles. This wasn't a giant, but in a world of titans, it punched above its weight. A brawler with style. As we exit this head-banging arena, gear up for Cryolophosaurus, an Antarctic predator with a rock star crest. Its frozen tail will chill you to the bone. Imagine trekking across the frozen wastes of Antarctica 200 million years ago when it was a lush forest instead of ice. Cryolophosaurus, a 20-foot-long predator weighing about 3 tons, ruled this polar paradise with a crest curled back like Elvis's pompadour. Unearthed in 1993 amid blizzards on Mount Kirkpatrick, this dinosaur's fossil, nicknamed Elvisaurus, challenges our view of ancient climates. How did a cold-blooded beast thrive near the South Pole? Its crest, a fan of bone, perhaps colorful, screaming rock star flare in a world of endless twilight. I've bundled up at Antarctic dig sites where Cryolophosaurus bones poke through permafrost. Holding its skull cast, you trace the crest, 6 inches high, sweeping back like a wave. Picture it stalking through fern groves, crest bobbing, jaws lined with curved teeth for ripping flesh. It hunted prosauropods, lunging from shadows, maybe in packs for bigger kills. I've seen tooth scars on victim fossils, evidence of ambushes in misty valleys where auroras danced overhead. Its legs, powerful and bird-like, suggest bursts of speed up to 20 miles an hour, turning hunts into deadly sprints. But the crest's purpose? A mystery that fuels late-night debates. Some say it was for display, flushing red to woo mates during brief summers, like a rooster's comb on steroids. Others think it regulated heat, vital in Antarctica's variable weather, warm days, frigid nights. I've shivered in field tents, imagining Cryolophosaurus roaring, crest vibrating to amplify calls across snowy plains. Fossils show throat bones hinting at vocal sacs, perhaps bellowing songs that echoed for miles. This wasn't just a killer, it was a performer, evolution's diva in the deep south. Antarctica back then, no ice cap, forests thrived, but 6-month darkness loomed. Cryolophosaurus adapted, maybe with keen night vision or hibernation-like states. I've pored over maps in research stations, picturing it silhouetted against volcanic glows, crest cutting the sky. It bridges theropods and birds, with hollow bones lightening its frame. A pioneer in polar paleontology, proving dinosaurs conquered every corner. As we thaw out from this icy enigma, get set for Cosmosratops, a horned wonder with more spikes than sense. Its over-the-top look will horn in on your imagination. Step onto the vibrant floodplains of Utah, 76 million years ago, where a dinosaur struts like it's ready for the red carpet. Cosmosratops, a 15-foot-long, 2-ton ceratopsian, was a walking spectacle with a skull decked out in 15 horns and spikes, more than any dinosaur known. Unearthed in 2010 in the Kyparoids Formation, its name means ornate horned face, and it lives up to the hype. From curved brow horns to cheek spikes and a frill studded like a punk rocker's jacket, this beast was built to dazzle. But were those horns for battle or bedroom eyes? This is evolution's showboat stealing the spotlight. I've roamed the desert where Cosmosratops fossils surfaced, their bones baked by ancient sun. Holding a frill fragment, you feel the texture, bony, jagged, a crown of chaos. Picture it grazing on ferns, its beaked mouth clipping plants, while its head screams, "Look at me!" Those 15 adornments, some 6 inches long, framed a face that could stop a herd in its tracks. It wasn't the biggest ceratopsian. Triceratops had it beat in bulk.
It's more of a display.
But Cosmosratops didn't need size. It had flair like a peacock crossed with a tank. I've seen fossils of its kin with gouge marks, hinting at clashes with predators like Teratophonius, a 20-foot carnivore with jaws to match. The horns spark fiery debates. Some say they locked in combat, ramming rivals to defend mates or turf. Others argue they were pure display, maybe flushed with color to woo females in the Cretaceous dusk. I've sat in Utah's red dust, debating with colleagues as stars wheeled overhead, picturing 2 males sparring, horns clashing with a crack like thunder. The frill, broad and spiked, might have amplified roars or flashed patterns to signal dominance. Its diet? tough cycads and horsetails, ground down by teeth like millstones in a 30-pound head. What's wilder is the why. Why so many horns? Evolution's arms race, maybe, each generation upping the ante to outshine rivals. Or perhaps predators pushed it, demanding flashier defenses. I've imagined Cosmos Ratops in a misty dawn, frill glowing, a living billboard of survival. It thrived in a crowded ecosystem, dodging meat-eaters while flaunting its style. This wasn't just a plant-eater, it was a charmer, a diva of the dinosaur world. As we leave this horned heartthrob, brace for Dinocheris, a mystery with arms so huge they baffled scientists for decades. Its story's a twist that'll grip you. Travel to the desolate dunes of Mongolia, 70 million years ago, where a creature roams like a phantom from a lost world. Dinocheris, meaning terrible hand, was a 15-ton, 36-foot-long enigma that baffled scientists for decades. First found in 1965 in the Gobi Desert, only its massive arms, each 8 feet long with 3-foot claws, were unearthed, sparking wild guesses. A super predator, a giant sloth-like beast. When a near-complete skeleton emerged in 2014, the truth was stranger. A pot-bellied, duck-billed omnivore, part monster, part oddball. This is evolution's wild card, defying every expectation. I've stood in the Gobi's searing heat, where Dinocheris fossils whisper of a bizarre past. Holding an arm bone heavy as a barbell, you feel its power, claws sharp enough to gut a foe or scoop riverbed plants. Picture it wading through marshes, those arms swinging like cranes, snatching fish or stripping foliage. Its head with a broad, shovel-like beak suggests a diet from plants to small critters. I've seen fish scales in its fossilized gut, proof it wasn't picky. This wasn't a lean killer, it was a hulking opportunist, lumbering through wetlands with a hump on its back for fat storage, like a prehistoric camel. But the mystery of those arms lingers. Why so huge? Some say they fought off predators like Tarbosaurus, slashing with claws that could tear hide. Others think they dug for roots or scooped aquatic plants. I've debated this under starry desert skies, imagining Dinocheris facing a rival, arms raised, beak snapping in a roar that shook the reeds. Its tail, stiffened by bony rods, balanced its bulk, while its legs, strong but slow, carried it at maybe 10 miles an hour. Fossils show feather traces, hinting at a shaggy coat, maybe flashing colors to signal mates across misty floodplains. The real shock? Its mix of traits. Theropod claws, ornithomimid beak, hadrosaur-like hump makes it a patchwork of dinosaur evolution. I've traced its bones in museum labs, marveling at nature's mashup. Dinocheris wasn't just surviving, it was thriving, adapting to a world where versatility trumped specialization. It dodged predators, foraged widely, and left us a puzzle that took half a century to crack. As we leave this clawed colossus, we're heading to a conclusion that ties these weirdos together. Get ready. The final act will weave their stories into a tapestry of evolution's wildest dreams. We've journeyed across millions of years, from Mongolia's dunes to Antarctica's lost forests, chasing the shadows of 10 bizarre dinosaurs. There is Inosaurus with its samurai claws, Amargasaurus with its singing spines, Oviraptor's unjust rap, Carnotaurus's devilish horns, Concavenator's cryptic hump, Mamenchisaurus's sky-high neck, Stygimaloc's spiked crown, Cryolophosaurus's Elvis crest, Cosmos Ratops's horned extravagance, and Dinocheris's monstrous arms. They're not just fossils. They're chapters in a saga where evolution played mad scientist, crafting creatures that defy logic yet thrived in a brutal world. Each one's a puzzle piece, revealing a truth. Life doesn't follow a script. It improvises wildly. Standing in dig sites from Patagonia to the Gobi, I've felt the pulse of these discoveries. Bones whispering tales of survival, adaptation, and extinction. 99% of species are gone, yet these oddballs left clues in stone. Why such diversity? Evolution's a tinkerer, testing claws, crests, necks, and horns like an artist splashing paint. Some traits, like Cosmos Ratops's 15 spikes, were for show, dazzling mates. Others, like Dino arms, were Swiss Army knives for a chaotic world. I've debated their purposes over dusty journals, picturing these beasts under alien skies, each a gamble that paid off until the asteroid hit. These dinosaurs weren't just survivors, they were innovators. Cryolophosaurus hunted in polar twilight, Mamenchisaurus grazed heights none could reach, and Stygimalloch brawled like a barroom fighter. They show life's resilience, its knack for turning weird into winning. But the biggest question lingers: what's still buried? I've walked quarries where new fossils surface yearly, each a potential game changer. Maybe a dinosaur with stranger horns or wilder claws waits under the next rock, ready to rewrite the story. This isn't the end, it's a cliffhanger. The Earth holds more secrets, locked in layers we've yet to crack. These 10 prove nature's imagination outstrips ours, a reminder to keep digging, questioning, dreaming. As we close, one final reflection awaits, tying these freaks to our own place in time's vast tapestry. As the dust settles on our journey through the world of these 10 bizarre dinosaurs, I'm left standing in the quiet of a fossil quarry, the weight of deep time pressing down. These creatures, the Rhizinosaurus's side-like claws, Amargasaurus's musical spines, Oviraptor's redeemed honor, Carnotaurus's demonic sprint, Concavinator's humped swagger, Mamenchisaurus's towering neck, Stygimalloch's brutal crown, Cryolophosaurus's polar rockstar crest, Cosmos Ratops's horned extravagance, and Dinocheirus's monstrous arms aren't just relics. They are echoes of a planet that was wilder, weirder, and more inventive than we can fathom. Each bone I've held, from Mongolia's sands to Antarctica's frost, feels like a letter from a lost age, urging us to keep searching. Evolution's a reckless artist, splashing traits across millions of years, most lost to time. 99% of species vanished, but these oddballs survived long enough to leave their mark. I've sat by campfires, debating their lives with colleagues, wondering what else lies hidden. New fossils surface yearly, maybe a creature with wings we can't imagine or spines that defy physics. The Earth's a vault, and we've only cracked the door. Picture it. Somewhere under a desert or mountain, a new freak of nature waits, ready to rewrite history. These dinosaurs remind us we're part of their story. Our world, with its fleeting tech and fleeting lives, sits atop their bones. I've looked into museum cases, seeing not just fossils, but questions. How did they love, fight, die?
This part right here
What
shows.
drove their wild designs?
What do you
The
mean by
answers are
that?
out there, buried, waiting for a shovel or a storm to reveal them. So keep your eyes on the ground. Evolution's next surprise might be under your feet, whispering secrets of a world we're still learning to understand. Comment 1 if you believe in random evolution, or 2 if environmental adaptation. See who's on our wavelength.